I'm Patrick Towell. I'm co-founder and joint chief executive of a company called Gallant Media Ventures, and we're an innovation agency that work in the creative industries.
I'm Mandy Berry, and I'm the other co-founder and joint chief executive of Gallant Media Ventures. Being an innovative company means that you've got to be prepared to take risks, and quite often quite big risks. And setting up something from scratch, a company itself, or a big project or idea, is a hard thing to do and exhausting. I've done a number, and each time I've done one, I've said, I'm never going to do it again. That's the last one. And however, that never turns out to be the case, because there's always another good idea.
Name your risks. So you don't let them have a power over you, because if you name a risk, then you can start to articulate it, understand it, manage it, reduce it. And I think one of the ways to know when you need to do this is when you have a kind of sense in your tummy of impending doom. And at those moments, those are when you intuitively sense that there are some things that are dangerous, but you haven't managed to work out what they are. That's when one of your key supporters or colleagues can kind of talk things through with you. You can start to kind of write down or maybe just speak out what the things are that are risky. And then as soon as you've done that, it's a bit like the kid and the kind of big scary monster. It stops being the scary monster, and then you can start to address it in a kind of rational way.
I'm Catherine Nathan, and I'm a partner in Ratchet Films, and there are two of us, 50-50 partners, and we are a production company. I think in any aspect of your life, risk-taking is going to be a factor. And I think there are some people who like to take risks, and there are some people that don't. I can't imagine anyone who has started their own company who isn't a risk taker to some extent or other. I'm not saying you have to feel comfortable with it, but we are going to be risk takers, and that's how it goes. In terms of risks, I don't like to focus on them. I don't like to make it a big issue. I think it's crippling otherwise for me. I've only got a tiny brain, I can't cope with it. For me, I have to think about what the possibilities might be. And when I do stop to think about it, it scares me, because 5 years ago, our business only had to pay for 2 people's livelihoods. Now, we're responsible for 6 people's livelihoods, and that's terrifying. So if I thought about that every day that I woke up, I'd never come to work. I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
A lot of people will tell you that you're going to fail, and you've got to be quite sort of firm and hard and stick to your guns. You have to have confidence in yourself and your idea. I mean, obviously you need to listen to advice, but you need to stay. I think you need to stay true to what you've set out to do. I think one of the things that actually mitigates against the risk is if you know that your idea, your vision is good, don't change it and adapt it according to every piece of advice that you get. Stick to the thing that you believe in, because if you know it's good, it is good. Things won't always work, and obviously that's really disappointing, but you'll learn from those failures.
My name's Pip Piper. I'm a producer and documentary director. The company that I run with my business partner Rob Taylor is called Blue Hippo Media, and we do a mixture of things, but feature film, documentary, and occasionally sort of commercial music-based project work. One of the big things that we sort of developed here at Blue Hippo was we wanted to move away from doing most of our sort of business being commercial work, and we wanted to get more and more into kind of doing our own films, things that we wanted to make, things that we had a desire to do as filmmakers. And that's a risk, because obviously having regular clients wanting you to create media, videos, films, whatever they be for them, is your bread and butter. That's the regular money that's coming in, and that sustains you, it runs the business, it pays the salaries. So to move into the world of, well, we've got this idea over here that we'd like to do, is a bit of a risk. And I think that's something we just thought, well, but we really want to do that. That's why we're here. We want to make the films that we want to make. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we made a decision to really start to branch out with that. I think it is really important that as independent filmmakers, we're willing to kind of take those risks. Otherwise, no films would get made outside of the sort of commercial sector.
My name is Steph Aquarone and I'm a technology entrepreneur, which is a very grand sounding title for what really just means dog's body, especially at the early stages of a business. If you entered a business startup with a risk management mindset, then I don't think you'd ever start a business. I think you need risk management minded people, and we got one into our business, a core part of our team, very early on because of the nature of our business. But I think you wouldn't ever be the person that starts it up if you're thinking about risk versus reward.
The reality is that things take so much longer than you imagine, always. There's always going to be bumps in the road. Taking on board doing your own projects, things where you've discovered a story or found some people to collaborate on doing something with, because they take so much longer, they do consume you. I think just to go in wide-eyed and understanding that those things are going to crop up are really important, and we've kind of had to learn them as we go. But if I was starting out again, I think I'd do a little bit more to map out what the kind of different shapes as your business evolves. I think the real challenge is that sustainability. I think you've just got to be very honest. We talk things through and try and sort of eke out the right way forward. That's just the way we work. But we've had to learn that, I think, the hard way.
Thinking about your customers first and about regulation and competitors second doesn't mean that you can't then think carefully about how to mitigate risks once you've decided that the stupid thing that everybody told you wasn't possible is the thing you're going to try and do. And the way that impacts upon your personal life is the most important risk to consider, in fact. Because as an entrepreneur, you can't put in more money than you can get access to. And we don't have debtor prisons anymore in the UK. So the personal risk is limited, but the family and partner risk is big. And in the same way that communications is the cause of all problems everywhere, ever in the world, and will always be, communications is the way to mitigate the risk.